Florida legislators are making a push for permitless gun carries in Florida. I have Scott Maxwell here. So, Scott, you would think the legislators making this push would be okay with guns, but as you're finding out, not exactly the case.
No, I've often thought that gun legislators in Florida are a little bit like Yosemite Sam. You know, they like to act like rootin' tootin' tough guys. But one thing a lot of people are not aware is that there is one place you cannot bring guns where it is a crime, and that is into any meeting of a legislature, any meeting where legislators have gathered together. That is a crime where you can be arrested and actually put in jail. And once again, this is a bill they have filed. You described it as permitless carry, but it would allow the legislature itself to remain a gun-free zone, even as they ask for more guns throughout the state.
This is not exactly a new thing. Like, you've written about this before, this whole legislators not having it around them, which seems kind of hypocritical.
It does seem kind of hypocritical. I'd say cowardly and hypocritical. And they don't have a good answer for it. That's one thing I've learned is that every time they have done this, like I've gotten some of the sponsors on the phone and I've said, well, why do you the past gun measures, for instance, which will allow guns in elementary schools or on college campuses? As you may remember those debates, I said, well, why would you allow a college, guns on colleges around students or children, but you're scared to have any guns around yourself? And every time you corner them on it, they say, well, I'd welcome guns in the legislature. And I always respond, but you didn't. And they say, okay, well, now that you've, sort of called me out, I'll change the bill. And as soon as they change the bill, to say that, okay, we'll allow guns on campuses and around legislators, that's when it dies. It's done that almost every year or two for the last 8 years.
Yeah, one thing I found was rather interesting in your column was that you mentioned you're not so concerned about open carry, and I'm like, wait, what's going on, Scott Maxwell? Why?
Yeah, I don't think I fall into one of those perfect boxes along partisan lines. Open carry, for instance, is not something that gives me a lot of concern. Most states already allow it. There aren't crazy problems. I think we've got gun issues in general. But also my philosophy is if some nut has a gun, I welcome the opportunity to see it, but instead of having it concealed somewhere. The reality, though, Rich, in my estimation, is all this stuff is just distraction. The real gun issues that most people from both parties, even most gun owners, support is people want universal background checks, and they do not believe in high-capacity weapons meant for mass slaughter. Those are things that are supported upwards of 80 and 90% by members of both parties, but the legislators will never tackle those issues. Instead, they throw these things out there to try to distract, as well as to distract from what I would argue are their many other failures, including the looming insurance crisis, which they've been unable to fix and which we've talked about many times before.
Yeah, but I guess the question is if it is just tough talk, or does this actually go through, or where does this go?
Yeah, maybe it does. Ron DeSantis, though, has his own sort of issue here. He's one of the guys who's really touting it sort of to burnish his presidential credentials. But as the Washington Post revealed, his campaign was revealed trying to ban guns at one of his campaign events. So it seems to be an overall mindset among these Tallahassee politicians of guns around thee, not around me. And I'm just not sure that one really floats.